We've seen more and more of Harry and Meghan's home life via Meghan's new Instagram account, which was launched on January 1. But this Father's Day video that she's just released in honor of Prince Harry, because it was Father's Day in the US and the UK over the weekend, that's probably the most intimate look we've had so far. There was a lot of shots of him with the kids. Obviously, it was a montage video. It was really beautiful. It was shot in a vintage filter, and it shows them sort of running around the backyard. It showed him teaching Archie how to ride a bike, and Lilibet runs after them. It showed them down at the beach, and it looked to be the same beach that featured in the Harry and Meghan Netflix series, which I think is near to their home. It basically just showed the home life of Harry and Meghan in just a much more relaxed fashion, and more of it than we've seen before. Although crucially, the kids' faces still weren't shown above their baby era. So we obviously saw the kids when they were, under 2, and that's because I assume babies developmentally look very different beyond that. And now they're having their privacy protected in a different way, and it's a decision that's been made by Harry and Meghan. But their faces feature in there as babies, but again, we're only seeing the back of their heads then onwards, and closer to now where they're actually little people that are much more recognizable. But it's a very sweet tribute. There's been a lot of chatter over the last year or so about Harry and Meghan's marriage and home life, and this was a really loving tribute from Meghan to Harry, and it said that the best happy Father's Day to our favorite guy. So a really sweet video, and again, the most we've seen of their home life recently.
Yes, it's a good day for singing a song, and it's a good day for moving along.
Prince Harry doesn't actually have an official Instagram account. That's why everything we're getting at the moment is all through Meghan's account, and it does show Harry from time to time. But you have to presume that they're in a marriage and they are a high-profile couple, that obviously he's agreeing or on board with everything that she's putting out there, especially because he is fiercely protective of his privacy, as we know over the last few years especially. It's been very much highlighted. So you have to assume that he was fine with that all going out there, but he himself didn't post anything. But again, he doesn't have a social account, and he no longer releases statements through the palace. The royal family released their statements through those official channels, so he didn't really have a way to be able to do that, although it does helpfully sidestep the awkward issue, which is that if he did have an official channel, put that through, and he didn't, people would be highlighting once again that the rift that he's currently involved in with his father and also his brother, both of whom are dads. So it kind of helpfully avoids that issue for him entirely.
By the way, you be careful what you say now, because these guys, they're filming.
I know. So every Father's Day and Mother's Day, the royals put out their little tributes, which is really sweet. So first of all, we had the one that everyone loves to see because it's always new pictures. It was Prince William and the 3 kids, George, Charlotte and Louis. It's a gorgeous portrait shot of the 4 of them. This one wasn't taken by Kate, the Princess of Wales. They often are. This one wasn't. It was by another one of their favourite photographers, but it's a lovely picture. But the way they did it was quite fun. They had a before picture, which is the more formal setting, and then they did an after, which shows William on the ground and the 3 kids sort of tackling him. And again, it's that sort of, they've gotten very good at showing these more candid moments behind the scenes because people really respond to that, especially younger generations with social media. So that was a really cute sort of before and after, showing him being a little bit more disheveled, a bit more rumpled than just that traditional portrait. Interestingly, as we expected, King Charles, Buckingham Palace put out a statement on behalf of him, which was a picture of the late Prince Philip, so obviously Charles's dad, and it's a picture of Charles when he looks to be about 3 or 4. He's quite little, and he's got his sister Anne with him, and the 2 of them are on a swing being pushed by Philip. It's a black and white photo, really gorgeous. And also they put out a picture of Camilla with her late father, Major Bruce Shand, on her wedding day to Charles. But here's the interesting part, of course, the Harry of it all, the Harry rift, the elephant in the room. The way that the palace worded it was Happy Father's Day to all the fathers everywhere. Now, that obviously encompasses Harry without having to say it. So, as always, we've seen some incredible diplomacy from the palace there, and they've handled that very well. But it's a really gorgeous photo, as I said, of Charles when he was little with the late Prince Philip, and it was a really nice way of marking it without sort of treading on any controversy or inviting any speculation about that rift.
Harry.
I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore.
In honor of Lily's 4th birthday, Meghan posted a really cute, intimate photo of Harry holding Lily. It was a gorgeous photo. There's also pictures of her doing skin to skin, which is when the baby's on your chest right after Lily was born. But then a few hours after that, she surprised everyone because she released this video, which is actually her own input in this viral. It was then at the time viral on TikTok. It's, you know, dancing to this song called Baby Mama, and it's all about getting the baby to come out. And as she wrote in the caption, Lily was a week late, same as Archie, which we hadn't known previously. And so she kind of, it was her part of, you know, a fun little look at her and Harry in the delivery room and how they approached all. To say it caused backlash would be an understatement. People did not take well to seeing the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and more importantly, the King's son and daughter-in-law engaging in dance moves the way that they did. Other people thought it was really fun, but a lot of people sort of had criticism of it, and they thought it was a little bit unbecoming. But either way, it got people talking. I think it had something like 40 million views in the end. So I assume her team, you know, there were reports her team considered that a big win because she's just launched a big company on Instagram. She's got all these branches of her commercial enterprises now. They're all going through Instagram. And so the very fact that people are looking at her page and talking about it can be considered a huge win. So at least, you know, she's cutting through the noise. But yes, it was... It divided viewers. Let's say that. That's the nicest way to say it.
You know, I've always loved cooking and crafting and gardening. This is what I do, and I haven't been able to share it with you in the same way for the past few years, but now I can. So as things are starting to trickle out there, I wanted you to hear it from me first. Of course, there will be fruit preserves. I think we're all clear at this point that jam is my jam.
I think that everything we've seen that Meghan's been putting out over this last 6 months since she launched her Instagram, I think all of it is in some way a reaction to people saying that, you know, she wasn't showing enough of herself, you know, that her and Harry were all about privacy, but they were only delivering this very polished view of themselves, you know, through the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary, which was unbelievably slick in terms of its production values. A little bit too candid for some people's liking when it came to what they were saying about the royal family. But I think that her Instagram is a way of showing, it is at least appearing to be a more relaxed version of her and a little bit more personal. And I think that is a point she's trying to get across because she's trying to sell herself now as a homemaker, as a lifestyle guru, as someone that is a wonderful host. You come in there and it's just a big family home and she's inviting you in. And I think a lot of that comes with her showing more of herself. People really only knew her for many years and probably will continue to remember her as the person who was a working royal for less than 2 years, but then went on to have a major rift with the royal family, which has not been good for her sort of commercially and reputationally. And so this is that new era. And I think that what we're seeing through these videos is just her showing a new side of herself in order to kind of help propel this rebrand. I think we've seen her try a lot of different things. A few of the projects have sort of not lasted beyond their infancy, like her first podcast only had 1 season and then just sort of disappeared. There's been a few Netflix projects that didn't really get off the ground. So I think that she'd like to push forward now with this one, and her company does have a lot of like branches to it. It is something that she wants to build into an empire. That just last week it emerged that she'd trademarked hospitality services, so it looks like she's going to try to branch into restaurants and hotels, it appears. Certainly that's a way to make money if you can do it right. So it's all part of the empire looking forward. But I would say that's certainly a direction she's hoping to move into.
But there's so many more products that I just love that I use in my home, and now it's time to share it with you. So I can't wait for you to see it. Thanks, guys.
No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling.